Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello guys. Let me know if the audio is working correctly. I believe it is. Let me know if the volume is wrong, if you need louder music, or my Flash plugin is really messed up on both of my browsers. Everything gets super quiet. That's strange. Alright, let's go log into Twitter. I already have it open. And 7, I believe. Close that. Alright, let's open up Quassel. Quassel's great, except it doesn't seem to ping me whenever people type my name in. It pings me, but it doesn't like pop up on my taskbar. There's probably something I need to set for that. Alright, what else? That was Twitter. Let's do, that's Making Games with Ben. Let's do, I believe Chrome has my other account, yes. I already have the video in my pictures folder. So let's see. Live stream. I already did Twitter. Cool. So, Twitter, YouTube, IRC. Okay. IRC. What else is missing? Alright. I think we're good. Yeah, Indie Sloth. Alright, so what I need to do is open up the Twitch thing, because I'm sure y'all are talking to me and I can't see what you're saying because I don't have it open. Actually, I'm going to open it up in Chrome. There we go. Sorry if I didn't see your message. It's too late now. Maybe we can just pause that. Where is that? Yeah! 3 retweets. The reason I'm using Chrome and Firefox at the same time is because Chrome works better for Flash stuff, and Firefox doesn't work at all for me sometimes. And yeah, and also they each have a different YouTube channel linked to them, so I don't have to switch between them, because whenever I try to switch between YouTube channels, YouTube crashes for some reason. I can actually show you. It may work now. Let's see if I can do it. Here we are. Let's switch to Benjamin Arnold. 0 subscribers. Oh, it's not even popping up anymore. Oh well. You'll have to take my word for it. Okay. No, whoops. Wrong button. Float. Pop out. Here we go. Okay, where's my voice coming from? Right here. I have 2 of these open. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I've had this open the whole time. Okay, so I don't need the second one. Don't need that. Don't need that. I have this. What's the agenda today, Ben? Okay, so the agenda today is probably texture stuff. So let me show you what I've done recently. So you all know last week I was working on repeat textures. I've finally got them working, mostly working. There's one small bug that I'll show you the bug. But other than that, it works really well, and I really like it. It's really performant too. It doesn't add any overhead really. The only overhead is the increased memory usage. So if you have a lot of repeat textures, you're going to have more VRAM consumption. But other than that, like all it did was it added a division and a multiplication in the shader, I believe. Maybe 2 divisions, but it's not really that bad. I mean, you want to avoid division, but it could have been a lot worse. So now we have repeat textures that can support a resolution of 1, 2, 4, 8, or 16, and it doesn't have to be a perfect square, so you can have like a 4 by 8 or something like that. And that'll tile. The reason it needs to be a power of 2 is because it's just a lot easier to do the math to calculate what texture should exist at a certain block. If it's not a power of 2, then it doesn't evenly tile inside a 32 by 32 by 32 chunk. And it makes it so that the math in the shader is a lot worse, and you have to apply that to every vertex in the scene, so it's not desirable. But yeah, I'm happy with it right now. It uses lookup tables on the CPU too, so it's all super fast. So you can see the bug right here. This little bug. Not sure. Let me get. It looks like we have. Oh, it looks like it's not working on this face actually. Because look, let me show you the texture real fast so you know what I'm talking about here. So here's the texture. I'm going to remove these numbers here in a minute. I was using this for debugging purposes. So each row is colored differently and each column is numbered differently. This just lets me make sure that it's tiling correctly. So this is a big semi-solid basalt texture. So let me go ahead and grab a block. So if we go up here on top, you'll notice I've been testing a lot. It tiles correctly. You get 0 through 7, 0 through 7. I can place blocks in here and they don't break it, which is awesome. Except if I place a block on a 1, no? It's not going to happen anymore? Now I'm really confused. Well, I was getting weird tiling artifacts when I placed the block on a 1 or a 2. Maybe I fixed that accidentally. That's never true. You never fix it accidentally. Oh, there we go. I guess it depends on the chunk. So I think this is like a precision issue in the shader, because if we zoom in here we can see the V coordinate, which is up and down, like the Y coordinate, is correct because you see the numbers in there. They look to be flipped backwards. Yeah, they're backwards. So it looks like the V coordinate is correct, but the U coordinate is flipped backwards. And it's compressed a lot, so we get it tiles way too fast. But again, that only happens if you place the block in a certain spot. So that's why I really think it's a precision issue in the shader with the division or something. And I could show you how the shader works, but we won't go into that right now because we're just going to work on some other stuff. I'm not going to worry about fixing this bug right now. It might take too long. Instead, what I want to do is work on a texture overlay system that allows us to apply 2 textures to 1 block. And right now, if you look at the grass, you'll see the sides of the grass blocks are incorrect. That's because this is actually displaying the overlay textures sheet for the grass. So you can kind of see at the top left, we have a little side grass type, and then we've got some other grass types down here. They're all grayscale. So what we're going to do is, this is actually an out-of-date sheet. What we're going to do is we're going to pull textures from this sheet and display them on top of a dirt texture for the side grass. And that's going to make it so that we can color the grass layer different from the non-grass layer. Oh, this is definitely wrong. What face is this? This is negative Z. Negative Z. See, there's that thing again. So negative Z is wrong. I thought I was correct. What is this? This is negative X. Negative X is correct. Excellent. What about positive X? Positive X is also correct. Beautiful. Another thing about this is everything still merges correctly. As you can see, I've put it into wireframe here, and you can see it's still doing the merging algorithm. So actually, in terms of performance versus quality, the repeat texture method is actually a really good method. Like the only thing you're really going to incur is a little bit of increased VRAM usage, and you're going to get textures that look a lot better. What about, I haven't checked this side, I don't think. Oh, cool, it's correct. Probably just flipped a sign bit on the Z side. Well, we've already got this tiling artifact here. But other than that tiling thing, okay, negative Y is correct. Beautiful. Except for this stuff, yeah. It's got to be precision. I can't think of what else it would be because it's obviously dependent on its like world space position. And it's also dependent on merging. It only happens when there's merging, so that will help me find this bug. Anyways, let's go ahead and restore the texture to what it should look like. So let's go here and just hit undo a bunch of times. This took a long time to do. Alright, there we go. And export. There we go. Cool. So now I just got to reload the texture with F6. There we go. And it looks awesome. So see, we have now a texture that tiles over multiple blocks. And Andreas said he doesn't like this texture, so he's going to fix it up. He didn't really have a way to test it in world. This one's cool. This is the basalt texture. And then if you look at grass from the top down, I believe grass also, yeah, you can kind of tell it also does the repeat texture method. I think it may tile over 8. And this is really, really great. Like it really breaks up the texture a little bit and makes it not look so tiley. It just makes everything look really gorgeous. And is that, oh, because that's, let me make sure this is working. Yeah, it's working. Cool. All right, so let me pull up the chat so I can see what y'all are talking about, so I can answer questions and things. Did I open it in Firefox? No, I opened it in, oh, it's playing. I don't need to get that. Oh, I didn't float this, that's why. Pop out. Hope I didn't lose all your messages. I don't see why it would do that. Oh, I lost all your messages. That pisses me off. Alright, if y'all said anything important that I didn't read, please repeat it. What did I just do? Yeah, screen console, that's just that's a bug. It has to do with multi-threading. Yeah, you can kind of see the background moves a little bit slower. It's because it's not updating, I believe, the view frustum fast enough on the render thread for some reason. I just haven't got around to fixing that. I know it's really jarring. Alright, so about these overlays. Let's go ahead and start thinking up what we're going to do. Haven't put too much thought into it. Let's, where did my floaty thing go? Let's put it right here. Do you have a time frame for the finished product? I do not. If I was working full-time, I might have a better time frame, but this isn't my job, so I can't give you exact estimates, not even close. Every time I try to estimate time to the release of a feature, I'm always wrong because things come up. We have random textures. Yes, we do. We already actually do have random textures and rotated textures. I don't think we support rotation yet, but we are going to do that. We're going to have rotation, random, connected, like the grass texture thing. ADT developing, we actually have murmur hash now that Christian wrote. I just haven't hooked it up yet, so we're going to use that instead of rand. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our... So here's what I'm going to ask y'all. What do y'all think we should do? We can, for overlays, we could just always assume that a block has an overlay and just do a texture lookup. We're going to do 2 texture lookups per block instead of 1. And for blocks that don't use an overlay, we'll just use like a dummy overlay texture that's just like solid white and doesn't do anything, or solid transparent. But that seems like it may be not the way we want to do this, because then if you're in a scene that has not very many overlays, you're going to be doing extra texture lookups on every single pixel, which, you know, it could add up. Another thing we could do is draw the overlays with a different shader completely. And if we do that, what's going to happen is we're going to have more draw calls, so that'll incur a little penalty there. However, it's not going to increase the complexity of our normal block shader. Y'all tell me what you think. I'm thinking for now we could just go the way where all of the blocks assume that there's an overlay texture, and if there isn't one, they just use a dummy texture. If we go that route, it'll be really easy, I think. It'll be easier. And what I can do is optimize it later, because in these streams, we're really just trying to prototype stuff and make interesting things happen, so it doesn't need to be perfect just yet. So I'm going to say we think we should do that. Y'all let me know. $15. Yeah, I don't take my word on that. $15. $15 is probably going to be the like beta price for early access if we choose to do that. The final product will probably be more than $15. I've been looking at what other similar products are going for, and they're usually higher than $15 for the final product. All right, so let's go ahead and we need to open up a few things. We need to look at our Vertex data. So let's go to OpenGL structs, which is right here. So we have our OpenGL struct here. I've added, since the last video, I've added, where is it, texture width and texture height, and then I have 2 padding bytes here because everything needs to be in multiples of 4. So we can release, or we can replace these 2 padding bytes with something useful for overlays. Let me open up the shader, SoA, shaders, and block shading, standard shading. So I'm going to open up both of these. I believe they're probably already actually open. Close all to the right. No, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so we have vertex shader and fragment shader. So you can see here, here's that division I added, just division by the text dimensions. And we pass the texture dimensions in here, and then we add, looks like a multiplication in the fragment shader. Just multiply it by texture dimensions here and here. That's pretty much all it does. So there's got to be some precision issue or something going on here that I'm overlooking for that bug, but I'll come back to that. Now what we want to do is see here where we do this texture grad lookup right here. That's what gets the texture. So we're going to actually have 2 of those. We're going to have one for the base texture, and then we're going to have one for the overlay texture, which for most blocks will probably just be a dummy texture. So first thing I need to do is commit my changes. That's hi-fi. It's been a little while since I've done that. That's also hi-fi. I always have too much stuff open. Okay, I don't think I've made any serious changes. What do I got here? Standard shading, slight tweaks. Cool. And git push. Oh yeah, and I deleted a bunch of code. Alright, so that's going to push to our repo. Now I can pull, which we're probably going to get conflicts, but that's okay. Alright, here we go. Haven't pulled in a while. Auto merging failed. Fragment shader failed. Okay, what else? Conflict. Texture Atlas Manager. Wonderful. Well, that's not too bad. That should be easy to fix. Yes. Where's the conflict? I don't see the conflict. Now I'm confused. Standard shading.fragment shader. Oh, I guess it successfully auto merged. I wonder what changed. Oh well, should be fine. Let's go ahead and go in the code and look yes to all. We're going to look for this head. You just look for that in the entire solution to find any issues. So here's write to Atlas contiguous. That got commented out for some reason. Is that somebody may have accidentally done that? That's not good. It's okay though, we'll just delete that. Maybe somebody was playing around with it and accidentally pushed the changes. It's understandable. And let's look for another head. Here we go. Oh, he replaced using namespace std. I'm happy with that. And okay, we need to replace this. Okay, so we're just going to delete this part and this part, and that should be good. Alright, and then here What changed here? Am I blind? Do they look the same? Oh. Oh, okay. Cool. You just refactored that a little bit. Cool, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. He just put the brace on another line. Okay, head index equals 0. Why is that there? Well, that's not going to hurt anything. Don't I already set that to 0 somewhere? It's there. Where else is it? Nowhere. That's strange. It must be just being initialized to 0. I don't know, that's weird. Well, we definitely want that. Okay. Here's another one. This is just, alright, we're just going to take mine for that. What else? There's a lot of these. Oops. Here's another one. And update atlas list. And add connected texture. These are old functions that I got rid of. Add random texture. We have a head here, and where's the tail? Oh, Jesus. Right to atlas repeat. I'm going to take my changes for all of these. Right to atlas contiguous is working now. Is that it? Cool. Alright, let's see if it compiles. Probably won't. I think there's some extra functions in the header file now that got added by that. Is there add? No, it looks correct actually. Let's see what happens. Ah, we have an error. Index is undefined. Ah, that's why it's not there anymore. Because we have a new variable. That's right. Run it. And it should be good. We'll build it and make sure everything looks good. No. I don't want to open my email. Oh, wow, y'all said a lot of stuff. You have the date wrong on the live stream schedule. Oh, do I? Damn it. I'm so bad at that. Alright. Actually, I think I'm signed in on Firefox. Sorry guys, gotta fix the live stream schedule, which is incorrect. I always forget to update it. Oh, it's correct now. Oh, no, it's not. Oh my god, the month. 5/19. That's probably been wrong for a long time. Alright. So, oops. Where's our error? External errors. Zip file. Oh no. I don't like the sound of that. Zip file. We are including zipfile.h. We are doing a for declaration here. We have our pragma once. Let's go to zipfile.h. This is correct. And what is, so read file with string and, oh god, I can never read those damn error messages. Let's go to definition. Go to definition. Where's the definition? No way. Oh, I need to add it. This is a new file. Brought on by the refactor. Existing item. Fair enough. zip file.h, zip file.cpp. I definitely don't have a WSO tree. That's something that Christian is working on. WSO is World Space Object. He's working on that so we can get some cool gameplay in there with like machines and things like that. World Space Objects are basically going to be entities that are on the voxel grid, but they are not necessarily a voxel in size. They can span up to 6 cubed blocks, or maybe even 6 by 6 by 7, or maybe even bigger. Honestly, it doesn't particularly matter. All right, so now we should be able to run it correctly. Here's hoping. All right, let me keep the background. Yeah, I can upload the background. Our artists made that. I'll try to remember to do that. I'll put it on when I upload the background. I'll put it on the website screenshots and the IndieDB screenshots. Why are all the good streams? Sorry, Mind Rage. Just watch whatever. Use push. Yeah, I tried using push and I couldn't get it to work. Awesome Bunny. We can all code together. Default.zip not found. That error message is new, but that's okay. If it doesn't find the zip file, it defaults to something else. So let's open up We. Is this KSP? That's amazing. Wow, it is KSP. Is that a mod or is that a new update? Looks really cool. I have KSP, but I don't really play it. I just haven't had the time to get good at it. Okay. Oh crap. Oh, I have a breakpoint in here. It's weird. Oh no. Of course, merging breaks everything. Crap, now I gotta figure out what went wrong. Damn. Well, that's not what I wanted to do during the stream. Fix merge conflicts. So, well, we've obviously got, what is that? Okay, these are suddenly transparent. That's new. These are transparent now. So what happened is I think Christian or Frank made some changes with the refactor that did not play nicely with my recent changes. No matter. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead and let's push this, or let's commit the changes. Git diff. Did I commit it? I did commit it. Crap. Oh well. I'm going to look at the differences online and see if anything pops up to me. Let's open up Bitbucket. Got some notifications. Google Stream promo for more live viewers. That sounds like an advertisement. Indie Dinosaur, cool. Alright, what am I doing? So we're going to go to this repo and commits. And this one right here. We're going to look at this commit and see all the millions of things that changed. It's going to be related to textures. Definitely. Perhaps it's the Vertex data. Perhaps it's something super simple like that. Block Vertex. Anything new to get added here? No, it looks correct actually. Let's see. It could have been the auto merging. Oh no, oh no. Got a lot of stuff here. So let's first take a look at Material Atlas, Material Stack. A lot of new stuff going in here. Floor generator, cool. Got texture changes. I don't think it's going to be that. It could be that. Let's see if he changed. He did change basalt semi-solid. Let's look at that. That's going to be SoA textures, texture packs, alternate blocks, terrain. So let's look at the text file and see if there's anything in here. Ah, this looks like it's why. All right. So this isn't the programmer's fault, I believe. I believe it's because we now have this second header right here for the overlay texture. So this is wow. There's actually an overlay for basalt. I wonder what it is. Suboverlay.png. Let's look at that. I don't see suboverlay. What does that even mean? I'm gonna have to ask him. Suboverlay. Is he online? I hope so. It's not online. So this looks like it's some kind of default. He's wanting it to be some kind of default overlay or something. So let's see what happens if I delete this. See if that fixes that weird bug. Should, because it looks like it's changing the method to connect, and it's trying to use the connected method, which doesn't really work with that texture. Yep. Gonna have to fix that too. Okay. Well, that fixed it mostly, but now we've got this at the top corner. It's almost correct. I wonder what texture that is. That's a bit obnoxious. Well, I say we ignore this bug for now and just focus on these grass side blocks. So actually, there's some new stuff in the Google Drive, I believe, that Andreas wanted me to get. So let's go ahead and open that up. He's got some new, oh dang it. That's right, wrong account. We'll go on this one. Google Drive. This is also the wrong account. It's weird. I don't understand. That's right. Made it more complicated. Of course, oh my gosh. There we go. So let's go to art and grass side. This looks like it. So let's download both of these. Let me see what he said in the message. Normal grass top texture with features instead of the tile 0 in the picture above. Okay. So yeah, this is the new look for the tile atlas thing. So we're gonna have to make a new method. I believe it's gonna be like method grass or something that handles this. So if any of you've played Minecraft, what I'm essentially doing is adding the Minecraft Better Grass mod as a core feature. Alright, so I don't need this. I'm confident that it's okay. And yeah, so let's open up the drive. And I'm going to download both of these and just dump them on the desktop with all my other crap. Let's see. Yeah, I have a lot of files too. No, I always blame Christian, but it's never his fault. uh, yeah. Let me look at that basalt thing again. Yeah, it's weird. It's correct. It's not. It doesn't have that white square. I'm not sure what that white square is about. So let's undo that, and we'll get started here. So the basalt's just going to look incorrect for a while. Let's go ahead and look at grass so we know what we're dealing with here. Oh, look, sub-overlay. I completely overlooked this. Oh, this is neat. Oh, I see what he's doing. So, wow, this is cool. So it's going to be basalt semi-solid is going to be a repeat texture, but it's also going to have this sub-overlay. Oh, look at this. This is going to be so cool. That is this, and this gives it a border. So now we can apply a border to arbitrary texture methods with the overlay textures. This is awesome. This is so cool. I'm so happy. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just work on overlays and see where we get today. I want to see this on the side of the blocks today. I really do. I don't know if we'll get that far because these streams are only about 4 hours, but I'd really like to see something like this on the side of the blocks. That, or let's go ahead and look at the grass. Okay. No, it's not building, it's terrain. Grass, grass, grass. Aha. Well, this is the old one. Let's get the new one. Complete. Oh my god, I have everything open. Stop you. Okay, zipping complete was on one of these pages. Okay, going to drag you here. I don't need the Google Drive anymore. Excuse me, and extract to this. Actually, I do need the Google Drive. I do need it because I want. It got removed for some reason. I'll have to talk to Andreas or George about that. But there's a. It already exists. All right, where is it? There it is. Aha. So what he said to me is to use this instead of that for, oh, because now it's a power of 2. Gotcha. For these, it's not necessary. It was only necessary for repeat. And he added this square, but instead of using this square, we want to use the normal grass texture for the top. So that square is only for the sides, I believe. This is only for the side blocks. I believe. I'll have to talk to him for sure. But basically we're going to apply these as an overlay onto the sides of blocks based on what grass blocks surround them. So for instance, this solid one here would be like the side of a hill where it's got grass blocks all around it. This one right here at the bottom right might be like at the corner where there's stone on all sides, so it kind of, or dirt on all sides, you know, so it makes the grass kind of fade away nice and cool like. So yeah, overlays. So basically the simplest way to do this right now is to just store a second set of texture attributes and do everything on that second set exactly like we would the first, and then do a second lookup in the shader. It's very straightforward. We're going to probably run into a bunch of bugs along the way, but it shouldn't be that bad. So what are we currently specifying a texture with? Well, we have a text, texture unit, texture index, and text is actually the UV coordinates. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename this to UV because it makes more sense. Actually, it's not treated exactly as UV. I'll just leave it as text for now until I think of a better name. It's not exactly the UV coordinates. It's kind of used like the UVs, but it actually, the reason it's not exactly like the UV coordinates is because it stores how many blocks are tiling for the stretching of the. Oh, that's another thing to consider. With the overlays, we are not going to be able to merge them. So, this is interesting. All right, so what we're going to need to do basically is not only check that the base textures line up correctly, but the overlay textures are identical before we merge, and it should be fine. All right, so yeah, we have texture unit, texture index, which is basically its index into the current atlas page. Texture unit needs to be renamed. Texture atlas. Texture unit is back when we used multi-texturing. So we have text, texture atlas, texture index, texture width, texture height. That's 6 bytes. So we need to add 6 more bytes to our vertex struct. That'll bring us down here. Here's our total right now. It's 24. That'll bring us to 30, which is not bad. And then we can add 2 padding bits or bytes and have 32. And that's perfect. That's fine. So it's not going to really add any overhead. Well, it's going to add some overhead, but as far as increasing the size of our vertex struct, I like to be under 32. Nice and compact. Apply. Probably going to get a bunch of errors because sometimes it doesn't do that correctly. So, what should we name it? So we're just going to have, this will be the base stuff, and then we'll have overlay stuff. So let's do, we should just, we'll do it like this. We'll interleave them like so. We'll say ubyte overlay text, like that. So this is going to be, oops. This is going to be 8 bytes. I like to keep a running total of the bytes for some reason. I just do. And now we're going to do ubyte texture atlas texture index. Ubyte texture at overlay texture atlas. Because they can be in completely different atlases. 8, this is 9, this is 10. I can't do basic math. Texture index is 11, ubyte overlay texture index, and ubyte is just an unsigned char. It's just a type def. What's going on here? Yep. Okay, that's 12. So 13, 14. Ubyte overlay texture width. 15. Ubyte overlay texture height. 16. Now that is that. Not quite actually. This should be 18. This should be 22. If I did the math right here. I'll go back and look. 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 23, 24, 25, 26, 20, 29, 30. Awesome. Now, these need to be on 4-byte boundaries. But we can get rid of this padding. Let's see. Let's make our 4-byte boundaries. Here is 4 bytes. Here's 4 bytes. Here's 4 bytes. Here's 4 bytes. Here is 4 bytes. Here is 4 bytes. Here's 4 bytes. If you don't have them on a 4-byte boundary, you're going to get huge performance issues. So let's get rid of these padding bytes here. We don't need them anymore. So this will actually be 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27, 28. Cool, 28 bytes. Beautiful. We're encoding. Look at how much data we have in a freaking 32-byte struct, less than 32-byte struct. Everything is bytes. Even the position is bytes. The texture type is bytes. This is like literally as small as we can do it without using bitwise operations in the shader. So I'm proud of that. Even the normals are bytes, and this merge is just something that's used by the merging. This actually doesn't get sent to the graphics card. Okay, so step 2, change all the code so that it uses this new vertex format. We're going to change it all so that it uses this. We're not actually going to change overlay texture width or height or anything. We're just going to ignore it. But for now, we're just going to pass it in correctly to the GPU. Because right now, I'm going to go ahead and hit run so you can see how broken it is. Right now, we're still treating it like it's the old 22 or 20 byte struct instead of the 28 byte struct. So we're sending in like the incorrect variables. So like color might be used for normal, or texture might be used for color, weird things are gonna happen, and let's see what it looks like. Oh, cool. So this bug was probably, yeah, texture unit. It can't get everything. It never seems to get macros, and it doesn't get, what is it? Things that are in arrays. So this should be texture array. Texture array. Texture index. I actually probably should have overloaded the equals operator instead of using compare vertices. So we could probably switch to that. It's just, no, actually I shouldn't overload the equals, because I actually have two compare vertices functions that they don't do full comparisons. They only compare the data that needs to be compared for them to merge. It's kind of complicated. I really micro-optimize this stuff, but that's why it's fast as shit. Haven't been watching what y'all are saying. Y'all are just chatting amongst yourselves. That's cool. Yeah, I agree that modded Minecraft is fantastic. That's why we are making a mod API. Definitely, we're making it from the get-go. And of course, we're taking a lot of inspiration from Minecraft mods for the actual gameplay. If you said anything interesting, just say it again. But like, if you have a question, format it. Okay. Format questions for me like this. That way it's easy for me to see. Look at that, solving problems here, just in case I missed some stuff. Modding API, duh. Scripting interface that will interface with C++. We were also thinking about adding a C++ plugin system if you want to make a mod that runs more efficiently. Of course, we're going to have the world editor. We're really focused on letting modders just go to town, and even people who aren't modders. Like, we want to make it easy for people to become modders, and you know, we want this game to kind of be a way for people to get into modding because it'll be so simple. Hopefully, that's the idea. Is this a fresh build? Are these errors all new? Yes, they are. Texture array is not a member of block vertex. Not texture array bin. Texture atlas. Texture atlas. We have a texture array of texture atlases. All right. Yep, in-game world and tree editor. I haven't been working on those because I've been working on all this texture stuff. I always like, there's so many like pet projects I'm working on all at once, but it's okay, it's fine. Do you release a YouTube video when you're streaming? Yeah, I'm going to release a YouTube video. There's actually a video I haven't released of the last stream, I believe, so I'll probably upload both stream videos at once. Do you believe in pancakes, beings, and Seed of Andromeda? I believe in whatever the modders want to put in the game, but that's just not going to be in the base game. Like, we seriously want to give you all as much freedom to do whatever you want. So, we're also talking about making it so you can load in arbitrary models and animations and use them as world space objects. All right, cool. So this is what happens if you just change the vertex data and don't do anything about it. So see, it looks like the normals are correct, at least somewhat correct, because you're still getting the correct lighting. All the colors are wrong, all the textures are wrong. These are not used by the same shader, these grass blocks, so that's why they look correct. So yeah, it looks like they're all using the same weird texture kind of thing. So yeah, that's what happens if you don't fix it. How will generation of planets work? Will you be able to spawn only on an Earth-like planet, or can you spawn in weird planets sometimes? Well, we're going to have like a main kind of story-esque mode where you kind of crash land on this planet, and that'll always be the same planet. However, you will be able to explore other planets, and you'll be able to play custom campaigns that other people will make. Modders will make like a custom story on their own planet, and you can crash land on that and have, you know, go to town there. But yeah, we've talked about doing a completely procedurally generated galaxy and things like that. These are all things that totally can be done. It's been done in lots of different engines, so I don't see why we wouldn't. But first, we need to actually make sure that our content generation is good before we start trying to Missed your question? Oh, yeah, sorry. Will caves be changed to be vast and have stalactites and stalagmites with water lakes and stuff? Yes, they will. We are planning on having underground biomes like underground jungles and things like kind of inspired by Terraria, where they've got all that cool underground stuff. We definitely. Cool. That's all the questions, I think. Yes. What are we doing? Okay, first we got to go to the vertex array object for. Oh no, we got to change the shader first. Let's go ahead and fix the shader up. So now we have, here's block shader initialized. So here's our old vertex attributes. We are changing it. And we are going to change it according to OpenGL structs. So let's open that up. Excuse me. All right, here's OpenGL structs. All right, so here's our new format. Let's go ahead and just change it in the shader directly, and then I'll change the shader class after that. So this is going to require a good bit of change, because I think we're pretty much moving everything around. Position texture type, that's this part right here, stays the same. I'll call it UV in the shader, and I'll probably rename this to UV. Haven't decided, just for, because right now it's not consistent. So this is going to be in vec4 UVs, because there's two sets of them. All right, and then this for is Atlas texture index. So texture Atlas texture index, like that. I'm kind of denoting like a separation with this, and this is going to be a vec4. You'll notice I'm basically just packing in 4 bytes into one vec4. That's an efficient way to do this. Like, you want to just pack everything into vec4s if you can, if you're doing compression by using bytes for everything. All right, next I have color here, and that actually looks correct. Looks like it's still going to, no, sorry, we have actually texture width, texture height. So in vec4 texture dimensions, like that. And then we have color. So it looks like we're adding another attribute. Then we have color. Then we have light, sunlight, animation. And then we have normal. So that's the change. Just a few changes here. Now we need to reflect those changes in the shader class that initializes the block shader. So that's going to be, it's too small now. There we go. For some reason I have trouble, like when I'm looking over a bunch of text, I just look over stuff. I don't know, something weird about my brain. Or looking over images like icons. If I'm looking for the Firefox icon, I just won't see it for like 5 seconds, even though it's right there. I don't know. Are some of y'all like that? Like, am I not alone on that? It kind of gets annoying. Okay, here we are. So position texture type, the same. This is UVs now. This is texture dimensions. This is still color. Oh, wait, nope, this is actually texture Atlas texture index. This is texture dimension. So let's add a new one in here. I spelled it wrong. Shader ID 3, that. So that's the texture dimensions. Then we have color, light, sunlight, animation, normal. Those are all the same. Just got to change the number here. 4, 5, 6. Coolio, and now the uniforms are the same. When we bind, that's the same. We just need to go to where the vertex array object is created, which currently is created in chunk, but that needs to be refactored out. We need to separate rendering from the data, which will be done. Don't worry. Let's bind VAL. Here we are. So this is the old way. We're going to have to rewrite this a little bit. Let's move it so I can see a little better. So there's an extra attribute, so we'll do that. And position texture type is the same. This is just UV. It is 4 bytes and it is in the correct place. This is texture Atlas, texture index. And this is in the correct place, except it should be 4 bytes. All right, normalization. Gotta look at this. This is not normalized. UV is normalized. But do we need to normalize it? I think actually we don't want to normalize it. That actually might be good for us. Let's do that. We're going to say GL false. Instead of normalizing it and doing this multiplication down here, cool, we don't have to do that. We just have to do minus 128 to get it from 0 to 255 to be centered at 0. Cool, so that saves one little multiplication, not that it matters. Okay, so that was UV texture atlas texture index. Is that supposed to be normalized? Let's see if it is being normalized. I've got a bunch of old named variables down here. This is going to be hard to see. So text unit was the old one. Here it is. So it looks like it was normalized, but we try to unnormalize it for the texture unit. What about for the texture index? We also unnormalize the texture index. So the easier thing to do would just be to pass it in unnormalized, which is what we are currently doing, but we weren't doing that before. So anytime we see times 255, we just change that to not be times 255, because now it's going to be correct, since this is an unsigned byte. Oh, and UV is actually supposed to be GL byte, not GL unsigned byte, I think. No, it is unsigned byte. It is unsigned byte. Okay. Check. Oh, I wanted to rename texture atlas texture index. So this is texture index. So this is going to be 3. This is also texture index 3. No, this is going to be 2 actually, because that would be the overlay. And this is the UV, so that's going to be uvs.xy. Text dimensions becomes texture dimensions.xy. I'm going to swizzle it. There we go. Swizzling is so cool. Alright, and texture unit ID, which needs to be renamed to texture atlas ID, or just texture atlas. That's going to be renamed to this texture atlas or just 0. Works. And this is the same. Pretty sure I'm missing something. I usually do. Aha, here's one. It's okay. It'll tell me. It'll give me a little syntax error. All right. So now we have our changed stuff. Actually, I don't think I'm done here. I'm definitely not done here. Bill, I'll be right back. Alright, it was on, got it. Do I still have audio? Audio, test. Alright, where was I? We have texture atlas, texture index, texture dimensions are missing. So let's add a column for texture dimensions. Texture dimensions. And texture dimensions is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's going to be 4 bytes located at 12. Hello again. Nice to see. Okay. So I'm getting sidetracked. Texture atlas, texture index, texture dimension, colors. That is correct. Color, and this should be at 16. This should be at 20. This should be at 24, because they are all 4 bytes apart, every single one of them. And this looks correct. So now, in theory, when I run it, it's going to look like it did before. Correct, other than, you know, that weird issue with, what is it, basalt semi-solid, where we have an overlay texture in there that's not being processed. Right now we're not using any headers. I believe these are called sections. We're not processing the sections. So that's something we have to add into the text loading code, but that'll be pretty simple because my any file loader already separates the sections, so that's okay. We get that freaking error again. Yes, we did. No, this is a different error. Oh, cool. We got a lot of errors here. Look at all these. Texture dimensions redefinition. Oh, that explains why I called it text dimensions instead of texture dimensions. Let's just switch it back to, let's just switch this to text dimensions. That's how I want to do it. And we'll do that here. Texture dimensions is right there. Where is it located? Down here. Okay, that's renamed, so now there's no conflict, and I actually need to also change currently, which is not up to date at all, but just so it'll compile the physics block shader, because the physics block shader has its own vertex shader, but it uses the standard shading fragment shader, because it does the fragment shading exactly the same way. Physics block shading. Now physics block shading, I guess it will have overlays. It's just always going to use a default overlay, because and the connected texture method's always going to use default connected texture tile, because it doesn't have any surrounding blocks. Like, I guess we could record the information when it breaks off of what texture it should display, but for now that's a little too complicated, I think. But it can be done for sure. It's just going to add a lot of data to that structure, because you have to do it for every single face, and that's a lot of extra stuff. We're renaming this to text dimensions. Text dimensions. And did I get everything? Texture dimensions should be text dimensions. Alright, let's try it again. I really need to make it so that whenever you have a shader failure, you can just enter a key for it to redo it. That would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Varying text dimensions, but okay, cool. This is in what is it? Physics block shader. I must have done something wrong. Oh, I know what I did wrong. No, I don't. I didn't save it. That's what I did wrong. Now let's run. Yay! Alright. It's that thing again. Wonder how big my error log is. Are you going to upload the videos in the correct order? I will try to. I tried last time I uploaded them all. Like, I hit upload in the correct order, but since they were different sizes, they got uploaded at different times, even though they were being uploaded, you know, correctly. Or I guess because the processing takes longer for longer videos, so it ended up being out of order. So this time I'll be sure to upload them one at a time and make sure they're all in the right order. Will the new bomb method and block damage method be implemented in 0.2? I want it to be. Definitely the new optimized method that Christian wrote definitely will be in, because it's already in the game. As for the pressure explosion, like for nukes and stuff, I want it to be in. Who knows what's going to be in 0.2 right now? Like, so much stuff is changing. But it should be in there. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be. If we decide to keep it, like, we may decide that it's not good. Hey, Christian. Sorry, I was missing. You don't have to be here, Christian. There's no obligation for you to watch these things. Mind rage, that's not a question. Alright. Whoa, that's so cool. Whoa, guys. What is going on here? Whoa, look! Oh my god, that's so neat. Look, as I move my camera, it changes. It changes. So I definitely did something wrong. Whoa, it's using like it looks like it's using the position, or the camera relative position. So the clip space position or something to determine the UV coordinates. Oh, that's so cool. Whoa. Whoa, that's actually really neat. What's going on? I could do this all day. What else looks weird? Everything's got this, what? I'm so amazed by this. God, bugs are so cool sometimes. Always graphical bugs are just awesome. My God. Okay, I guess I should figure out what's going wrong here. But I kind of like it. Let's just keep it. Let's just make this a feature. Let's just make this... Let's make it so that all textures in the game do this at all times. Wow. That is so cool. I wonder what Ruby looks like. It's not even the right color. Oh, it changes colors. Oh my God. Okay. I think I'm about to have a seizure. Look at that. What is this? I'm gonna have to make a highlight out of this and upload the video separately because this is like the coolest bug ever. So what happened here? My speculation is that, like I said, the position is being somehow used. I can't spell sapphire. It's somehow being used for the UV coordinates and possibly the color as well. But I think it's just the UV coordinates. And it's got this weird... It's what is it doing? I don't know, but it's so cool. Okay, I'm going to stop because I don't want to give any of y'all seizures. Wait, I want to see what this cave looks like. Whoa, I like that. And then some of it's transparent so you can see through it. Neat. Okay, let's find the bug. Let's find the bug. Okay. So it's got to be in the shader for sure. Ooh. Oh, well, that's physics blocks. They're wrong. That's fine. Physics blocks are always going to be wrong. Okay. Let's pull up. Here we go. Let's look at this one. Let's make sure our offsets are correct, because it's a good possibility I did the offsets wrong. 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, all separated by 4 bytes. We've got 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 3 bytes, 3 bytes. Yes. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3. Yes, this is enabling the correct ones. Let's peek at this definition here. This is now 28 bytes. 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 12 bytes, 16 bytes, 20 bytes. All right. That's definitely correct. Where did we go? Block shading. See, I can't. Here it is. Texture atlas. Texture index. I feel like it would give me an error if these were wrong. Light, sunlight, animation, and normal. That's all correct. So I think the issue is I'm doing something wrong in the shader. So let's see where we get the UVs, because that's obviously an issue here. XY should be correct. Let me make sure I'm doing that correctly. Overlay comes after. Overlay comes after in all of these. What about texture atlas? This This is the Z, which is texture index, and the 0, which is texture atlas. That's also correct. How peculiar. What about color? Color's the same. Colors, that's just used for the fragment color. Very simple. Well, it's something related to this. It's probably really obvious. I'm just not seeing it here. It's always true for all the bugs we have in these streams, and there are many bugs in these streams. That's the fun. It's half the fun, looking at all these bugs. I'm running out of ideas. UVs XY. Perhaps it has to do with the normalization, but I don't think it does. Because this should come in between 0 to 55. It should have its unnormalized value. We're going to subtract 128, so it'll be a number between 0 and however many times it tiles in the positive or negative direction. What about texture unit? So texture atlas. That is not normalized, I believe. That happens in chunk. Let's look at the normalization here. Colors is normalized, light is normalized, normal is normalized, texture dimensions, everything else is not. Weird. What's going on here? Should they be normalized? Well, the position is obviously coming in correct, and the texture type is coming in correct. So it's got to be, it has to be UVs, obviously. So there's something, at least there's something wrong with UVs, without a doubt. Let's look here. It's using ID 1. Using ID 1. 4 bytes. 4 unsigned bytes. Let's make sure everything is unsigned bytes. U bytes all the way down to normal. Correct. Wow. I mean, if we're not using the other data, it shouldn't affect anything. And we're not. I swizzled correctly. Interesting. Any ideas, anybody? Are we? Instead of sending out color, send out UV coordinates for debugging. I mean, yeah, we could do that. Trucks. The Rude Sandstorm. That song. Voxel Drug Simulator 2014. Since the texture changes with mouse position. Well, it's not mouse position that it's changing with. It's changing with the view. So it has to do with like the position of the vertex relative to the camera. Discovered a new mapping method. So yeah, I guess let's try that. Let's try sending the UV coordinates and see if they change. So to do that, we just read in, where is it? UV right here. So we multiply this by like 0.01, otherwise it gets optimized out and I get a bug. And we're going to say glm vec4. Alright. And we're going to do uv.xy. And then we'll do 0 for blue, 1 for alpha, plus that. And so UV should be around 128, and it should stay about there. So we should get like a roughly, pretty much the same color across every block. If it's changing a lot, it's obviously UV, but I think we're all convinced it's obviously UV because the texture is constantly changing. But let's see if this gives us anything useful. GLM vec4. That is 4 floats. It's like an array of 4 floats. GLM is based off of GLSL. That's why they're both vec4s. GLM is actually trying to emulate GLSL completely. That's why all of the operations are pretty much the same. It's really, really incredibly helpful. Very, very useful little math library. You still building? Excuse me. Here we go. Did it crash? Yeah. GLM. Oh, I typed GLM. That's why you were saying that. Okay. I'm so used to typing GLM before everything. Look at that. It's changing. So we're getting yellow, which is correct because it's red and green. But it's slightly changing based on the way I view it. Which should not happen. Neat. It's gotta be... What could this be? This looks really cool. So the UVs are changing. What about the... They're only changing on, like, they're not completely changing. You can see the geometrical patterns of the error here. That's really cool. But yeah, these colors should not be changing when I'm moving. Not at all. And you can see the little stripes here are pretty, like, really similar to the stripes we were seeing before. So solid red means the G component of the UV, which is the V coordinate. The V coordinate is going to 0, is what's happening. So normally they're both at 128, but for some reason on these, like, along these patterns, the V coordinate is getting really, really small, all the way to 0 or possibly even in negative numbers. Because if it goes to negative numbers, you just you can't tell, because it just shows, it basically shows as if it was 0. And the question is, why is V getting screwed up like that? It should not be getting screwed up like that. So here's our outvec2 UV. UVs.xy. Pretty basic. Let's stop dividing by texture dimensions, because maybe it's a problem of texture dimensions. Let's just take the UV and use that. Just basically the raw UV from the input. That should allow us to narrow it down quite a bit. Yes, they are. It's pretty tough to debug a GPU, or debug a shader. Yeah, I've done this a lot of times, screen console, so I usually click pretty quick. Look at that. It's not changing anymore, is it? Ha. Also, this shows me an issue. I guess, is that desired behavior? Why are we getting a... I would think it would be all yellow. There's some interpolation going on along the edge. Might be something I should look into later. But I could just be thinking about this wrong. But yeah, so this is correct. So it's obviously a problem with the dimensions. So that was a good way to narrow that down. So let's focus on text dimensions here. That is... No, that's correct. Yes. Okay. Texture dimensions. Well, first of all... See, I'm getting confused here over my own stuff. I used text dimensions instead of texture dimensions. That should be correct. Ugh. Alright. There we go. Let me make this back the way it was. Without glm vec4. And let's run it and see if it looks correct. $67L value, can't modify an attribute. Dang it, what did I do wrong? Did I get it backwards? I got it backwards. Ah. Okay. Now it's gonna work. I'm super serial, you guys. It's gonna work. Super serial. Spilling water. There we go. Told you it would work. But will it work? We want to see the same fairly broken stuff that we had before. Yay, this is correct. I know it looks wrong for those of you who are here just now, but at the beginning of the video I showed how our repeat texture method was awesome and it was pretty much working. And then I proceeded to pull from the repository and pull a bunch of changes that the artists made that basically made it not work anymore. So now I'm sad, but that's okay. Basically what they did was they added, or Andreas added, this overlay texture header because we're making overlay textures. That's what this stream is about. And so hopefully we'll have an overlay texture before this thing ends in a few hours. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we can start using the overlay texture values to do stuff. Okay. Now, time to do some thinking because we're going to need to store some additional data in our flyweight pattern block data struct. So let's go to, or it is a block struct. Let's go to block data. Here we are. So all right, we've got colors, and then we've got textures. And encoded in this byte is the, I believe, just the index of the texture. No, this is the index. Atex R, Atex G. What are these even used for? That's a horrible name, Ben. This is another class that I haven't quite refactored yet. Oh, this is average. That's the average text color. It's used for, it's supposed to be used for displaying the correct color on the far terrain for surface blocks, so that if you have like a red block, it shows up on the LOD terrain. Down here, this is what I'm looking for. We have the text info for each face, and we have the texture for each face. Don't change the order, important. And these encode, since it's an integer, I'm pretty sure it encodes both the atlas and the the atlas and the index into the atlas. So we're just going to basically copy this style here and do the same thing for overlays. So we're just going to make some extra stuff. So let's copy, oh, and we have normal map stuff here, but we're not using the normal map stuff yet, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. Alright. Alright, PX So how should we say overlay? I don't want to type overlay because that's huge. OV text info, PXOV text info. I like that. PXOV text info. That's pretty obvious what that is. PXOV text, PYOV text, PZOV text, NXOV text, and YOV text, and ZOV text. So that's the overlay stuff. Now let's initialize it. So we're going to go to block. And we're not using an initialization list here. Do we even initialize it? Oh, we're just mem setting everything. 0 the memory. Okay, cool. So this is like a hacky, cheating way to initialize everything to 0. You just mem set your data to 0. That's not a good idea. But, you know, do as I say, not as I do, you know. I'll fix that later. All right. Says Ben about everything. So we are confident that it is 0 at the start. Now what we want to do is go to our chunk mesher and do something with that. No, actually we need to first load it in from the text file. So we need to go to File System. Yeah, there's a lot of little things we're going to have to do here, and any one of them could go wrong. And there should be a load text file in here. Load text file, there you are. So right now, I'm ignoring the sections. So what we need to do is not ignore the sections. So I believe, I don't have the texture specification in front of me, but I believe all we have is base texture and overlay texture for all of these. So we're going to need to, okay, we have to use, So this is the relative path to the current location. It's not the absolute path. So we're going to have to construct an absolute path. Because I agree that we shouldn't, I don't know, I guess the relative path makes more sense. And if you wanted to go to another folder, you would have to be like / textures or / blocks / that if you wanted to go to another folder. But do people know how to do that? I'm wondering if we should make them just use the absolute path from the Seed of Andromeda folder rather than the relative path to this texture. Any thoughts, Christian or Frank, if you are watching? A custom message video thingy for notifying of a stream. Fuck yeah, Bunny. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yes, do that. Do that for me and I will like you. Because I don't like you right now, Bunny. I'm just kidding. Twitch is not capital. But Tetrads is capitalized. Okay, where was I? This crap. Alright. Well, so what I think we could do is have like an integer state. And if the state is equal to base texture, then we set the base texture stuff. Otherwise, if the state is equal to overlay texture, we set the overlay texture stuff. And I think that's... Oh. It returns a single block text info. Let's go to this struct. So instead of having a block text info for each texture, it might be best to just encode the overlay stuff into the block text info. And that actually kind of makes sense to me. So I'm going to do that for now and see if that works pretty well. So let's go back to chunk.h. Sorry, blockdata.h. And get rid of those extra block text infos I did. So all we need is the texture for PXO Vertex and all that. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. So now what we need to do is go here and add some stuff.